I meant to get around to this a month ago when the story actually broke. The thing about gaming news is, I found that most gaming news these days really isn't a whole lot of news, you know? But every now and then, there's a story that breaks that actually affects a lot of things. It's a big story. From time to time, I've talked about how I've wanted to get a PlayStation 4. But I was going to wait, right? I want to play God of War. I want to play Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to play that samurai game. There's a lot of games, a lot of good games on the PlayStation 4 that I missed out on because, I went with the Xbox One, which I don't regret. I mean, I've had a lot of fun on the Xbox One and everything. But at some point, I wanted to pick up PlayStation 4. But imagine my horror when I read that there's a battery inside the PlayStation 4 and also the PlayStation 3, a CMO battery, I believe it's called, that is connected to your trophies. It's connected to your trophies, and I get it. I understand it. It's connected to the trophies because, no one wants people to take out the battery, put it back in, and show an achievement or a trophy for a game from 2006 or whatever on the PlayStation 3. This issue is also on the PlayStation 3. Just to sum it up here, here's why a lot of people are really shocked. On the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, they were designed in a way to where when the PlayStation servers, when PSN goes down and no longer supports these systems, guess what? You can no longer play your digital games on the PlayStation 3, to my knowledge. I have a PlayStation 3. I have Castle Wolfenstein. You can no longer play a digital game because I guess it has to sync up to the store. And on the PlayStation 4, it gets worse. You can't play the PlayStation 4 games. So I get a PlayStation 4. Let's say I get a PlayStation 4. I pick up maybe 9 or 10 games. I'm like, excited. Hell yeah. I'm going to get to play these essentially forever, right? Now, I'm not a huge game preservationist. I understand there's people out there that are big into it. Like, I understand it. I'm not a huge game preservationist. But I think even if you're not really huge into game preservation, if you're not like one of those people that want every single game to be preserved for the end of time, which, I say that, but like I would like that. I'm just not one of the biggest people for game preservation is what I'm saying. There are certain games that we'll never get to play digitally, like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World for one. I wanted to play that, but then you can't get out on a digital store. But this is different. We're talking about physical releases, AAA titles like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, all of Sony's PlayStation 4 physical games, possibly one day just not working because of a design flaw in the PlayStation 4 connected to the CMOS battery. I remember when the systems came out, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Everybody was talking about the PlayStation 4 being vastly superior technically. And it was superior technically, not vastly though. Everybody was talking about, damn, that 720p box, But it's ironic now that the VCR Xbox One, those original systems, I don't think there's any similar problem there. I don't think there's any similar problem to where those systems will not be able to not function and you won't be able to play, all the Xbox One games physically on those system till the end of time, right? Now, we all know at one point they'll shut the servers off for, older systems, and you won't be able to download games off the digital store, for the older systems. Everyone kind of understood that. But this is one step beyond. We're talking about going to places, flea markets, yard sales, pawn shops, and looking at a PlayStation 4 and 20 games, and that being worth maybe a nickel because you can't play the system just because of this error, just because of this flaw. And I don't see how Sony didn't know about this. Like, I don't understand. I mean, there's no way they didn't know about this. So some people saying out there, well, poor Sony, they didn't know about this. No, they knew about this. So at the very least, Sony doesn't care about game preservation into the future, which I find it kind of ironic that these gaming companies don't seem to care at all about game preservation. Or, they care about their pocketbooks and making the money, but they don't care about these games being preserved. So, okay. The good news is there's a fix. There's a workaround. One is for Sony to actually get off their asses and make a firmware update and send it out. And it updates everything. Everything's hunky-dory. I don't know technically what happens. I can't explain to you. Maybe some other people can explain this firmware update, what they would need to do. But everything's fine. Sony sends out that firmware update. Everything's updated. And you know what? In 15, 20 years, you're going to be able to play God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, on your PlayStation 4. Everyone's happy. Everything's going well. The problem is, everything I've searched right now doesn't lead me to them actually, unless they have an official statement, there is no news whatsoever that they are going to do it. And I might be wrong on this. Hopefully I'm wrong on this. Hopefully they had an official statement, on their website, maybe the day after. If I was a company like Sony and this kind of shit came out, I would be right there saying, oh, okay, don't worry about it. We got a firmware update in the works. Although you might be able to say, if you're looking at this from a certain perspective, how did they not know about this, for one? And two, they would have probably came out and said, okay, we're going to do this firmware update. Or they would have actually, have done the firmware update. It's kind of like when you see somebody and you bring something up and you're like, why haven't you taken care of that? Chances are they never had any intention to take care of it before you brought it up. So that's kind of fucked up. I don't know if this kind of issue exists on the Xbox and their systems. As far as to my knowledge, I don't think it does. So this is just a Sony thing for older PlayStation hardware. I'm hoping that they do the right thing. I don't see any reason why in the next couple months they shouldn't make a firmware update and actually just send that out. Just as a token of good faith. Because right now there's people collecting. There's game collectors. And you ain't had to be a game collector. I'm not a big-time game collector. But I feel the worst for people that have full PlayStation 4 libraries. Could you imagine the shock and horror? And we talk about games being great investments. Ha! I mean, in this case, not the PlayStation 4. People have invested all this money into a full PlayStation 4 collection, that you can take to a, GameStop won't give you a nick. They don't give you money right now for games. Just imagine if in the future you bring a PlayStation 4 to them. They would laugh at you. So it becomes a paperweight. There's a ticking time bomb into PlayStation 4s and the PlayStation 3s. I don't think the same issue resides in the PlayStation 5. But who knows, there might be another issue connected to the PlayStation 5. Leave your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. And hopefully somebody can tell me that I'm just being crazy and insane and I should go out and buy a PlayStation 4. Because right now, I'm hesitant to pull the trigger in buying a PlayStation 4. Ironically, we talk about pulling the trigger because, in the future, it could be dead.